with the panel discussion number 3. And the topic we will cover in panel discussion will be building a customer-first culture in NBFCs people, process and platforms. May I request everybody to please get back to your seats, be seated. Thank you. Now I will request the moderator, Shailya Gupta, CEO Credit Fin, to please join us on stage. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Now I will request the panelists to please join us on stage. Pinang Shah, CEO Capital India Finance. Rohit Mehta, MD Akasha Finance. Ms. Jashoda, CSO Phoenix Capital. Ms. Anamika Chatterjee, Head Customer Experience, Retail Finance Hero FinCorp. Mr. Abhijit Paul, VP and Head of Sales, Sharpcell. Can we all just give a big round of applause? Over to the team. Mr. Pinang Shah.
Please, let's have a seat. So, we're waiting for Pinaksha to join us. In the meanwhile, let me start by a very small, brief introduction about myself. I've been a management consultant for more than a decade to over 50 plus banks and NBFCs before starting my own career as CEO of Credifin and spent glorious years working with every kind of organizations from MFIs to banks, gold loan products, mortgage loans, etc. Happy to moderate this session. It's a very interesting topic, people, process, platform. And we have a very very enthusiastic, I've already had a discussion with every one of them, panel over here. So I would request everyone to start with their small brief introduction. Thank you.
Thanks. So my name is Abhijit. I lead the overall business for India at Sharpcell. So basically, we are a sales execution platform, and last 8 years, we have been working with a lot of insurance, banks, and NBFCs in India, and helping their sales team, improve their productivity. Let's say solving a lot of problems in NBFCs, like reducing their mis-sellings, improving their FTRs. So we'll talk more about that, but happy to be part of the panel, and yeah, so thanks a lot for having me here.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anamika Chatterjee. I'm currently working with Hero FinCorp and heading their customer experience for their retail loans. I have an overall experience of close to 2 decades. I started my journey with American Express, then worked with a couple of the conglomerates like Religare, now currently working with Hero. Also got an opportunity to work with a couple of startups, fintechs. So all throughout, the journey has been around BFSI, handling multiple products, whether it is loans or credit cards, insurance, or MFI products, anything and everything that dwells around the BFSI sector. And overall, handling all these years have been around operations and customer experience.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jashoda Gulia. I am part of Phoenix Capital Limited. It's a Mumbai-based NBFC listed on BSE. However, it has been a very old organization, but we recently undergone some changes in the management and renamed it as Phoenix Capital. We primarily focusing in supply chain finance and gig worker loans. We'll be happy to give you more details about it later. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Rohit Mehta. I am the Managing Director of Akasa Finance. We are primarily into financing of electric vehicles in India. And in that too, we primarily finance e-rickshaws. And hope to interact with all my panelists. And let's see where it goes.
Great. So we have two panelists missing at the moment. Hopefully they'll join soon. But let us start. Let's not waste everyone's valuable time. Let me start with a simple observation. We claim to be customer first. In our slogans, across our branches, there's posters where we've written that. In our investor decks. But are we truly that? Why is it we require 12 forms to be filled by a customer before giving a loan? Why is it hard collection calls are done? Why is it customer needs to call 3 numbers before their query can be solved? Customer first approach seems to be really, really good till the EMI is coming in. But what happens when the EMI stops? In today's time, it is very important that we need to ensure that we are able to, we are not winning on price wars. It's not that we have to fight with the customer with our brand. It is about giving them clarity, preserving their confidence with our behavior. And with that, the topic of this panel becomes really, really important. Process, people, and platform. So, moving on to the first, where it all starts. It's on the front line. It's often observed that during the branch counters, call center, field visit collections, when targets are high, month-end pressures are high, that is the key matrix that we're looking for. Empathy is often compromised. Because of this, incentive schemes scream, disburse. But do we really calculate for empathy towards the customer? Anamika, my question to you is, how do you manage that within your organization?
Okay, so see, we are in the financial industry, and when you talk about customers filling up forms, customers making calls, customers visiting the branches or calling up at the call center, all of this forms or let's say the processes are dwelling around how the customer will be getting his information and how he will be serviced, right? If he is asked to fill a form, that might be the process where the due diligence is done. But why do the customers have to visit the branches multiple times? Why do the customers have to call up the call centers multiple times? It all depends on the processes that we as leaders have defined. When we're talking about the financial industry, it is very, very rare to be seen that the customers are treated as the primary focus of the organization. Most of the organizations which are dealing in the BFSI industry, they are focusing on the revenue. They are focusing on collections. They are focusing on disbursements, how many policies have been disbursed, how many loans have been disbursed, how many customers have been acquired, how many credit cards have been sold. Very rare organizations are actually focusing towards how the customers are serviced, or let's say how the customers are experiencing the kind of services that are being rendered to them. So what we are trying to do differently at our organization is, see, we as an organization have a legacy, right? And we are trying to build something around the experience part, because servicing is something which is being done by every organization. There is nothing new about giving a service to the customer. But when it comes to create an experience in the mind of the customer, are we doing the right thing? Are we taking the right kind of measures? When I say the call center, it is a bunch of people who are my frontliners, who are facing the customers when they are mostly irritated, when they are very, very frustrated, when they have series of complaints which they want to discuss with somebody. These frontliners, if they are being told that why is it important to service the customer and not treat the customers just as a case, just as a single interaction, just as a call, that is what it means. So processes, let's say when you talked about incentives, when you talked about giving something in return to these frontliners, that is what it will mean when it comes to servicing these customers. Why? Because when there is so much of pressure around performance or targets, when these calls are coming, when these customers are visiting the branches, when these emails are received, all of these interactions primarily will be taken as a face value and will be treated as just another case.
Right.
The performance will not allow the frontliner to look at the human side of the customer and treat him as a customer who's frustrated, and because of that he's coming to your doorstep or to your platform, right? So what we are trying to do, Shailya, we are trying to devise some things where we can reward these people who are taking care of the customer in a different manner. For example, if I'm getting 100 calls every day, how many calls was I able to give a resolution on the first interaction, which we call as first call resolution, right? If I keep on increasing the percentage of these first call resolution, which means if I am able to convert my first interaction into the last interaction for that customer for that particular query, the final interaction, that means I will stop that customer, I will restrict that customer to come to me again and again. I will save a repeat interaction. I will save the frustration with the customer might come to me with when he has to contact me again and again through any of the channels, right? So, sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
sorry.
we have Pinaksha, who's welcome, sir. Hi.
Sit, guys. Sorry. Come on. Please sit.
Yeah. So I was just mentioning that when we are defining the SLAs, or let's say the KPIs for our frontliners, it is very easy for us as leaders to motivate the frontliners. But there are certain other things also which goes beyond motivation. Remuneration is something which motivates beyond words. When we are focusing so much on investments, when we are focusing so much on rewarding the business teams, when the actual the output has not been delivered, still if the acquisitions have happened, if the numbers are telling that X number of credit cards have been sold or X number of policies have been sold, no matter within the free look period the policies are being returned or cancelled also, nobody is looking into that, but the incentives are already being declared. Why not devise something for the frontliners of the service team as well, which tells them that, look, if you're able to translate this interaction into the final interaction so that the customer does not have to call me, I am saving a lot. I'm indirectly translating it into the ROI. Why? Because I will be reducing on my repeat calls. I would be reducing into my repeat interaction. I would be saving my customer from walking into the branches. So this is just one simple example on one of the SLA which we can think of, and we are trying to do a lot of things around these.
So what you are essentially saying is ki let's devise a system where we can actually incentivize on the basis of resolutions. But I think one of the major questions still remains that with the pressure of disbursements and the incentives going towards that, we really need to find out a balance where empathy is equally rewarded and the customer resolution is taken care of. At Credifin, what we generally try to do is, because we operate in vehicle loan industry, right? We understand that we suffer losses at the time of repossession and sale thereof. So we try to minimize the number of repossessions, and we actually reward our team members when they convince the customer not to surrender their vehicle, but again then keep it with them and become a regular customer and start paying their EMIs. So this is one method that we have started using, but again then I'm sure for every organization there are different use cases, and empathy awards or empathy incentives is something that we can definitely introduce. So Pinak, directly jumping into you, because both of us as CEOs, we face a lot of pressure from the both sides. The profitability is a key matrix, but and that's where the customer first mentality gets tested for first and foremost, because customer first mentality often comes with heavy costs, right? It means sometimes slowing down your disbursement, sometimes decreasing the flow or tightening credit. So how do you convince the board and your investors on taking this approach? It will be good to learn from someone like a veteran like you. So if you could help us out with that.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me here and thank you for this question. Before I respond to your question, Shailya, I think what was heartening to hear right now was a couple of words which just came to my ears: human element and empathy. We are talking about this in an era of AI, where each one of us are trying to do something at our organizations of bringing in technology and trying to see how the human element can be reduced, probably improve productivity. But despite that, I think correlating now your question to this approach, the fact about customer service, about customer being first, all of this starts from the top, right from the CEO, right from the board. That has to be inculcated as a culture across the entire spectrum, because it's very easy for each of your business teams or anyone on the front end to get swayed and lost in an era of targets which one is chasing, month ends coming up, left, right, and center. People are trying to cut corners about achieving business numbers, etc. So in that, how is it that you build an ethos of a customer first approach? Now, that does not start purely by selling your product to the customer. It starts by selling the product to the rightful customer who is in need of that product. So when I say need of the product, if you talk about lending, a customer needs an X amount of money, but it's not always necessary that you as a lender may be wanting to do that basis prudence. There'll be competition, there'll be demands from the customer to give him more money, but the real picture is not just giving him a transparent communication of the terms of the proposal, but also giving the customer enough transparency around the process, around the timeline, and more importantly, can you communicate to the customer in sync with the cash flows of the customer and possibly educating him why a lower loan amount, for example, is better for the customer today rather than. So end of the day, the service part of it does not get concluded with the sale. The sale in a loan product always gets concluded when the monies come back. So if you're going to hit an EMI payment 6 months later, which is going to be tough on the customer because of his cash flow, it all goes up, boils down to the fact that how did you do credit underwriting? Did you give him excess leverage at that point in time? It's a very thin line which one will have to tightrope. One needs to walk between business targets, ensuring that the loan is done, at times giving up on growth, at times saying no to a customer, realigning your business plans, and end of the day, Rome was not built in a day. So it does take time to build institutions, and that's where transparency is very important, not just in what the regulator tells you to tell the customer, be it the key fact statement and stuff like that, but much beyond that. Can you really communicate with the customer with transparency in terms of his needs and what really this loan is going to do in terms of his cash flows in the future?
But just let me push you a bit more, because we're talking from the board side and the investor side. So how do you really convince your investor ki, slowing down my disbursements or reducing the volume may build trust, but it will compound tomorrow?
You don't talk about slowing down volume because of one kind of customer approach. What you talk about is essentially building trust with the customer and trying to convey, are you able to create an institution which will last decades? Otherwise, it's very easy in lending to have an hockey stick growth. One fine day in one fine year, end of the day, if you have enough and more liquidity, you can open taps and disburse as much as you want. The key question is, can you do a measured growth, which is eventually going to be good asset quality? And when I talk about asset quality, it also is correlated to a customer service approach. End of the day, because if you have more delinquent customers, it's going to disappoint your customers. Your approach on collections is going to be under radar. So the whole idea is, can you avoid a collections effort on any loan that you do altogether? And that can be done only if you do the underwriting right.
No, I completely agree. Something that we've realized, we operate in EV segment, e-rickshaws primarily. And there are so many cases that we get logged into our system, and half of the cases that we reject, not because the customer's credit history is bad, because we understand that while driving this e-rickshaw, his life is going to deteriorate, his lifestyle is going to go bad, and ultimately he will stop his payments and go back to whatever he was doing earlier. So I completely agree and resonate with that. Moving on to Rohit, Rohit. the customer first approach gets really tested when, in a business like ours, because we both operate in a similar segment. When you are not, and this is the second customer that we should talk about, which is very important, the dealers, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? We have to not just care about our customers, because the loan customer is actually being, or our offering is actually being translated through the dealers. Along with that, how do you approach when there's so much of noise around attachments of various products which are not essential for the customer but being forced, because if he wants to enjoy a particular facility, something like an additional insurance, etc., and dealer forcing him for extra margins, etc. How do you deal with that, and how do you manage that on a day-to-day basis?
See, I am on a realistic kind of a person. So any kind of customer approach is basically dependent upon your profit maximizing strategy. So if you have a product which is only going to be, you have a customer which is a one-time customer, then customer centricity is not very important in those kind of industries. If you have a product where you have repeat customers, then that is where your customer-centric approach becomes important. Now, in our case, we basically confuse ourselves between who our real customers are. So is it the person who is borrowing from us, or is it the person who is facilitating that borrowing, which is the dealer, as you asked me? So in our case, I take the approach that the dealer is my primary customer and the customer who I am lending to is my secondary customer. So now the dealer is somebody who I will need to do business with again and again every day, while the customer himself might not be coming back to take a secondary loan from me. In that case, I will make sure that my dealers are getting in touch with me, their voices are heard, they are in communication with me, and whoever they are talking to have some kind of authority to resolve their problems. As far as customers are concerned, again, when it comes to collection, so we are a collection first organization. If it comes to collection and a customer has some kind of dispute or problem, we'll try our best to resolve it. Why? Because we need to do it. If we don't do it, our EMIs will not come on time. Will this customer go back and spread word of mouth and bring more customers? If yes, then again, customer centricity becomes very important. If this customer is not someone who you expect you to bring more sales, then as an organization, even though we might talk about it, we will not be focusing on it. That's the hard reality of it. So what is your product? Is your customer going to give you repeat business or not? Is he somebody who is going to give word of mouth publicity or bring in more customers if you are doing a very good job of wowing him? If these are the factors, yes. If not, then maybe customer centricity is not your primary goal.
Right, but again, then don't you think training this customer, your dealers, creates a lot of value, because ultimately your portfolio gets hampered when there is some kind of mis-selling happens during that time. And I mean, we've seen dealer doing self-financing because of which, or not issuing RCs and insurances where the customer was not properly informed, or some I don't want to quote the kind of practices, if we both know what we're talking about, happens. But don't you think that ultimately impacts your portfolio, impacts your collection team? And again, our team members are also essentially our customers itself.
So in that case, see, first of all, we need to understand we cannot teach or educate the dealers. We can only create a scenario where it is mutually beneficial for both of us to be doing the same thing. So if he's doing something which is detrimental to me, we should create a scenario which is detrimental to him as well. And if he is doing something which is beneficial for me, then we should pass on that benefit to him as well. As long as it makes, see, the dealer is a businessman and he will be thinking about profit maximizing strategy for himself. So whatever he is doing, if we are rewarding him for doing something bad, or if he is able to earn more by doing something which is not supposed to be done, then he will keep on doing it. If you are able to punish him for doing something which he should not be doing and reward him for doing the right things, then he will be there on track with your aligned goals. It's only about mutual benefits. It's nothing about, we cannot educate them, we cannot train them, because it's not their KRA to do our work for them.
Right. It's an interesting perspective. We do understand now that dealer ecosystem in itself is super complex, and you have to kind of live with it. So we've talked about leadership, we've talked about frontline behavior, we talked about influence on the ecosystem. But let's get to the heart of it, where disbursement and numbers, and we ultimately reward team members for customers' lifetime value. If we pay for speed, we get speed. If we pay for volume, we get volume. If we pay for relationship, do we really measure it, Anamika?
We do, and that's what I talked about. See, whenever we are delivering any kind of experience to the customer, until unless we are measuring the quantum or the kind of delivery, we will not be able to generate the kind of impact that we are trying to create. It is very easy to say that you should be speaking politely to the customer. You should be rendering the kind of service that is defined as per our service guidelines. But how do you ensure that that is being done? It is even easier to put people out of the task if you find that they are not doing the job the way you expect them to. But is that how we want to do it? We want to do it in a way where we are training people, we are putting them on the ground, we are telling them how to service or create that experience. At the same time, we are also trying to reward them for the good work that they have done. And like I just mentioned, in between this AI, the ecosystem that we are trying to create with a lot of automations, lot of bots, and the kind of customers that we are handling, let's say a tier 4, tier 5 kind of customers, the human side is very, very important for each one of us to understand, the frontliners as well as the leaders. Because when we are devising the processes, the guidelines, if we don't keep this in mind, we will not be able to define the processes and then put it on the ground for these frontliners to deliver. Now, why we say so? When you're handling 100 customers on a day-to-day basis, you will just time your interactions and you will forget why the customer came to you in the first place. You will not have any sentiment as a frontliner. You will forget the human element from your end. You will forget the human element at the customer's end. You will just treat that interaction as one single interaction, move on to the next one. So if we try to put in processes which kind of rewards them, and rewarding does not just mean through your compensation or remuneration. Rewarding could be an acknowledgement, a reward in an R&R, let's say some kind of goodies that you're giving to these frontliners. They can be done in many ways, but the ultimate motive is to motivate the people who are doing the same kind of mundane work and taking all the heat of the customers being the frontliners.
But taking leaf from Pinak's book, when we talked about, sometimes we have to reject loans because it's not the right fit for the customer or reduce the loan amount. How do you really calculate that as an impact and a customer experience? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you're essentially looking at your team members' disbursement ratios and then rewarding them. And how do you really account for the customer experience and impact their bonuses? Because when we talk about our frontliners, they're not enjoying salaries like what we enjoy, right? They are essentially on a very meager salary. And how do you really measure that? This person rejected this loan because that was the right call to make. And how do you actually justify that to another person who's a star performer, who's, let's say, doing 2 times the business that this person, but then there may be other consequences for that?
So Shelley, we have, I talked about the first call resolution being one of the KPIs that we have defined, right? You and me understand what CLV is. We understand that if my customer lifetime value increases, my cost of acquisition will go low. I will be high on generation of the revenue. My ROI will be skyrocketing. We understand that. But the frontliners won't. So do we have something called a repeat customer or a unique customer? Every interaction that I have, let's say I have 100 interactions which I get through multiple channels. Out of those, if 50% of my interactions are repeat interaction, I am losing it because I have to deploy manpower to handle the same set of customers who would have come to me for the same query because it was not resolved in the first place. So while I'm trying to reward something like a first call resolution, I will also try to reward something like who's trying to reduce my repeat customer base. So if my repeat customer goes low, let's say from a 50% I come down to a 40 and then to 20 and then to 10, I am investing my entire bandwidth handling fresh queries, new queries. So, you know, that is something, and my customer lifetime value will go high. Why? Because if my customers are getting their resolution at the first interaction, they'll be happy. If I try to pitch them another product, let's say a loyalty product or any kind of other loan, he will be happy. He will recommend my product to his brother, to his family members, to his friends and associates. So indirectly he is becoming my promoter. I do not so okay, there is very common practices, or let's say matrices in the service industry which we call as CSAT or the NPS. What are these? These are direct translation of the interactions that was done with the customer. If you were not able to handle the customer query at the very first time and you made him come to you repeatedly, you lost on the CSAT. And trust me, he will give you a very bad NPS score. He will become one of your detractor. He will never recommend you rather than badmouth you. So just by focusing on few of the matrices, we are following the 80-20 rule. I'm just focusing on those 20% of my KPIs or SLAs, which would be actually yielding me 80% of my result on the ROI, on the CLV, on the service excellence.
Great. So, I mean, embedding more technology seems to be one of the solutions. You know, how can we calculate NPS? And I think if we can calculate NPS for not just the organization as a whole or a branch as a whole, but for every customer or every touch point, I think that should solve a major problem. Which brings us to the fourth force shaping culture today, that is technology. So with CRMs and CRM, AI, and real outcomes, today every NBFC is proudly saying we have CRM, we have AI. Most of us don't even understand what AI truly needs to do, but still, you know, it's become a buzzword. We have analytics, and we have so many dashboards that makes management happy. But few are the dashboards that really make customers happy. From where you see where you've seen technology move from surveillance to service, from reporting to resolution, how do you think organizations can focus on creating this technology stack which could actually make the customers happy, just rather than, because ultimately if the customers are happy, then the management will get happy. It's maybe a slow burn, but you get there.
So, Shalay, I think I'm more aligned with what Rohit ji said, that making your customer happy is basically depending what segment you're serving. So since we serving to supply chain finance and gig workers, which is a short-term loan and quite repetitive in the nature and very tech sensitive. So in that case, in our case, yes, customers centric approach is required. Yes, we do that. While we're talking about the CRM, certainly CRM is helping us to keep the record of the customer since it is a repetitive customer. So it helps us in serving the customer again without asking the entire history and then repetitive documents. So yes, in both segments, whether it is a supply chain finance and the gig workers loan. Since gig workers loan starts from the 7 days to the 90 days, so it is also very repetitive in nature. It keep coming on the dashboard and then going back. So it helps in recording the entire behavior and past record of the customer. While we're talking about the AI, yes, I honestly says, yes, we are working on this segment and we genuinely want it because our industry, our specific segment where we serving in is actually in need of it. And it is a game changer as well. So where we talk about the AI, where we look forward to make it in application, so we are looking on the two process. One is where we can have the predictive behavior of the customer. So based on that, because it is a kind of customer which certainly will come to your platform. So based on that, what we are trying to analyze about the customer is that yes, what kind of behavior he's running, what kind of requirements keep coming on in his life cycle, and what could be the futuristic requirement. So let's say if any customer जिसका बेटा अभी 2 महीने के बाद MBBS करने वाला है, और in case अगर हमें पहले से पता चलता है, तो we can give them the specific product for his requirements. So kind of that. And when we talk about predefined segment, specifically, proactive approach for the futuristic behavior of the customer. in that segment, we are working where we can also analyze the risk. So analyzing risk, yeah, we're working on the application where we'll be able to judge the customer's ongoing failure payments, any cash flow, bad cash flow, or anything which can hamper his financial report. So based on that, we will not just able to know about his customers, I mean, in case if it can moved into the NPAs, but then also we can provide them some better solution before it get into the NPAs. So these two applications we closely working on, then certainly it will be game changer in our segment. While we talking about the digital platform, yes. For digital platform, since it is also a very part of many of the organization where entire journey is straight through process. So we are also part of that. We give them the facility specifically for the supply chain that yes, if the moment you are just having a cup of tea, you will have the loan amount in your bank statement. And at the same time, when you're serving to the gig workers loan, so the customer is the one which do not have bank statement, not having the prior history, not CIBIL score. So in that case, you certainly need a platform where you can analyze based on the alternative data, what kind of behavior they can run in the future, loan journey. So based on that, yes, we are working, and this is a completely a digital process where we are able to serve both the segment efficiently. And thirdly, yes, how since it is not just on the dashboard, since we started these two segments in just last in 1 year, so we started with one gig workers platform, e-commerce platform. So now we moved into 6 by the referrals only. So this is the one testimony we have. The another one is, since it's a touch sensitive, so we have all the customer with us in the repetitive transactions. So this is another one. And third one is that how can we give the testimony to the performance of the giving the customer experience on the good note. We do not have collection team. So we have very efficient track record with the customer, and none of the customer has moved into NPA so far. So this is the testimony that we are using this platform not just for our use, but for the betterment of the customer.
That's great to know. You know, one thing that we have kind of made at our organization using, you can call it AI or rule-based engine, and using macro data, is something predictiveness on how much an EMI the customer can pay at any given month. So obviously we create a normal EMI chart like everyone does, but we call it a special IMI, or intelligent monthly installment. So let's say if a customer has gone into, let's say 30, 60, 90 days overdue, looking at the past, you know, what the difference between the days from where he had paid, whatever incidents that could have happened, you know, in his life. Let's say Holi came in, Diwali came in, there were rainfalls, heavy rainfalls, etc. So there are about 20-25 odd parameters through which we can actually analyze how much the EMI can the customer pay. So instead of asking our collections team to go and collect 2 or 3 or all the broken EMIs, we assign them, you know, okay, this customer's EMI is 10,000 bucks, but this customer can pay only 12,000 rupees this month as of this date. So only try and collect that. So Abhijit, you know, you design systems for a lot of banks and financial institutions, and I'm sure on both sides, at the sales and the collection front, you know, the organization feels and faces, because the frontliners, everyone act in a different way. We have 200 odd locations that we present, and I'm pretty sure my executives, their behavior in Punjab will not be same as you know, the executives' behavior in, let's say, a Bihar location. Yeah. Although the product and the service offerings are the same. So what is the difference that you've seen within the organization, and how does your technology actually tries to solve that issue?
Yeah, sure. So I think maybe I will break down it into two parts. Maybe first I will talk about what are the common, let's say, challenges that we see our clients face across insurance, BFSI, NBFCs, banks, mutual funds, whatnot, and maybe talk more about NBFC here because of the forum, right? So I think the one consistent problem that we see across our clients is the inconsistency within the sales team, right? So when I say sales team, the frontline sales team, they are expected to be the face of the face of the company. They are expected to drive the top line of the company. But the fact is, there's a lot of inconsistency that is there within the sales team, right? So you have literally zero control on what your customer or prospects hear. You don't have control on what you as a company want them to hear. Are our customers really hearing that? And this directly impacts, let's say there is a lot of mis-selling that's happening on the ground. There is a reduced FTRs. Let's say first time right is always low, right? The productivity of the frontline sales team is low. But when we dug deeper, why is this happening? Of course, the reason is the kind of attrition numbers that we are running with the frontline sales team, right? These are on double digits. First, I thought double digits are yearly. Some of our clients said, no, double digit attrition is monthly that we are speaking about, right? So that's one thing. The second is the kind of people that we are getting today to be a part of our frontline sales team. We need to understand their psyche as well. They don't want to learn, right? So those are facts that we have to live with. And given those facts, can you solve for this was a challenge that was thrown to us 8 years back, right? And with this, let's say what we understood, standalone systems, standalone learning system, coaching system can't work for this frontline sales team, right? So we need to help them at 3 different levels. The level number 1 is at the moment of truth. Can we help them at the moment of truth, at the point of sale, when they are actually in front of the customer? Can we help them to look like an expert? Can we help them to look like their boss's boss? Can we really help them so that they earn their incentives and they are not screamed at the end of the week, right? So that's the insight that we got, that can we help them at the moment of truth. The second part is, let's say again, be it BFSI, be it auto, be it consumer durables that we work with, it's a multi-touch point sales that happens, right? I mean, not every sales closes in one touch point. I'm again talking about the frontline led sales, right? Where let's say you talk about a home loan where there are multiple touch points before the disbursement happens, right? So at those section, can I create an execution layer where, let's say, it almost becomes, let's say, a brainless job for my frontline sales team to have those personalized touch point with the customer so that his chances of, let's say, converting more prospect to customer increases. So that was part 2. Part 3 is, let's say, when they're not in front of the customer, when they are not there in their day-to-day sales life cycle that they need to have with all their prospects, right? So can we help them with technology? Can we help them, let's say, with that kind of personalized hand-holding? Can we help them with AI, where the AI can act like the trainer, the line 1 manager, can solve for their queries, can really do those mock calls, give them real-time feedbacks, but in the language that they understand. So with this, over the years, we have created this tool, which is there in 8 different regional languages, is like a buddy to my, let's say, frontline sales team, can help them when they are in front of the customer, when they are not in front of the customer, can help them to convert more prospect to customers, which in turns are really giving a lot good matrices to our existing clients, where they have seen reducing mis-selling, improved FTRs, and improved time to productivity. So yeah, happy to connect more, let's say, offline after this panel discussion of how actually we are solving for some of the brands like Axis, AU, Tata Capital, Nivas, PNB, etc., etc. But yeah, that's how we are solving.
Great, great. But Rohit, from tools to ground, right? Abhijit has talked about a lot of things, but I know you really well that you are hands-on in your sales team. You'll directly call your team members. How does it? How does it translate to whatever we're talking, the kind of tools that we're talking about? I'm sure you've implemented some and you've tried some. And what are the results and how do you see the approach of the team members while using these tools? Are they even serious or it's just a compliance matter for them?
Well, frankly, mostly it's just compliance matter for them. But sometimes if you are able to create some tool which is actually making their life easier, which is easy to use for them, and made in a way which is has been taken with their feedbacks, then that is something that they tend to use. But at the end of the day, see, any software, any AI, anything else that you see, these are all just supplementary things to the core business. The core business will not change, only its efficiency will increase. So whatever your sales strategy, the core has to be right. All the tools that you want will help you make it more efficient, keep a better track record of it, give you better data. But they will not change the nature of business itself. So if something is not right, you need to, I think, more than the tools, what happens is we tend to over-analyze. We are looking at too much data, which I call as white noise. So we are so much stuck in white noise that we forget the basics of what we are doing. So a lot of time what is required is going back to the basic question, why we are doing, how we are doing it, what is it that we want to achieve from it. And after that, if those are right, then use the tools to increase the efficiency, reduce your cost, or increase your revenues.
Yeah,
So,
maybe.
please.
Yeah, I think I really echo with you, Rohit, right? Because let's say when we started 8 years back, right, we wanted to start grounds up approach where we shadowed a lot of this frontline sales team. Even one of my co-founder, he actually took up an LIC agency and started selling life insurance to understand the pain point of the ground. And even today, let's say when we introduce us to some of our clients, we say, boss, we are not a tech-first company, we are sales-first company. Because when you have to deploy it for the frontline sales team, their biggest question would be, what's in it for me? Can you help me to earn my incentive? Can you help me so that my manager at the end of the week doesn't get back to me and scream? If you're able to solve for these two questions, no, you are in. I mean, they will automatically adopt, and it would no longer be a compliance tool. It would be a tool that they would want to use. Because they know by using this tool, I'm able to earn more incentives. So echo you, yeah.
So, I mean, there's this question, and there's a very huge conversation happening around across the globe these days. Is AI going to replace humans? And I think that's something that we find here also. It's the merger of technology with the mindset of human, and what do they want and they want the technology to drive them. I think that is the best solution. So if Rohit and Abhijit can get together and create a wonderful product for us, that will be really great. Moving on to the last question that I have, Pinak and Jasoda, for you guys. Technology gives structure, incentives gives direction, and leadership gives intent. But the real test and the stress comes when EMI is delayed, when a grievance is escalated, when a customer is vulnerable. In our loan products like home loan, supply chain finance, which we were just talking about, and education loans, these three categories I'm sure that you guys are expert in. When the EMI stops, it's very difficult to get them back. It is not just a customer grievance mechanism that needs to kick in. It is not just customer service needs to kick in. It is a stressful time. It's a stress for you, for our team members. It's stress for the family members of the customers, and they are vulnerable, essentially. Collection and grievance handling. How do you balance empathy versus risk discipline, and do you let it control your credit quality, and how?
So, most of the problems you're talking about evolve from the approach which you as management take in the company, and we have a very strong ethos of people first as a company. Yes, technology is needed. Yes, speed is needed, etc. But if you are a people company, and when you say people, it is customers, it is employees across both these segments. End of the day, you are in existence because of your customers. So you definitely cannot be ignoring them in any form or manner. And delinquency happens. What you need to identify, and if delinquencies don't happen, trust me, you're not taking enough risk. So you need to take risks. It's okay. Having said that, what's important is to understand the reasons behind that, see if there is a solution. Everything cannot be target-based. Yes, targets are important, but do you have that flexibility to your collections team to understand the human element on ground, see the difficulty that the customer is facing, and by which you will have a little more acceptable response to your customer to find a solution and help him during that period. Give him products in itself which do not lead to delinquencies. Give him the protection which is needed, be it build an insurance policy of sorts, which kind of takes care of, say, for example, loss of income for a particular period and stuff. But all of that boils down to people first as a culture. If you have the right kind of people on ground, I'm sure these solutions can be figured.
So yeah, I think everything comes from the top management. So what leaders think is certainly go to the team and they react that ways. So how it works is, let's say in case if our company's leader are motivating certain one task, appreciating, rewarding, so that is the philosophy of the organization automatically convert into that. So when, in our case, when Phoenix comes into the Phoenix, we certainly reward the customer, also the people-centric, as Mr. Pinag said. So when it comes to the delinquency, yes, we cannot avoid it. It will happen, but then yes, it is a solution there always. So this is basically in case if your management is appreciating the efforts put into the customer, delinquent customer, to make it to the regular. Yes, that is a one thought process come from the top management. At the same time, if you rewarding that kind of efforts, which not just helping the customer to be in the regular phase, but also generating new customer. Yes, you cannot avoid the fact that in the lending segment, yes, the disbursement is the one where it is always one which has been taken as a target-based job. So yes, it is there, but at the same time, in case if the management convert it into the appreciation of making the customer centric, that is also always good.
Yeah, but matlab, my rebuttal to both of you, is empathy really scalable? I mean, does it essentially at a certain level, at a certain scale, becomes standardization and we lack personalization? Because during these times, it's often the personal that's more important than standardization. And how do you ensure that every member, and that's where the maximum customer interaction happens on ground, how do you make sure that everyone understand that level of personalization that is required?
So you can't, but that's the hard way. And hard ways are normally things which take time. You have to make a beginning somewhere. If your team on street, when you have the senior management team, say, doing a branch visit or a customer visit, sees the way you are interacting, sees the way you are grounded, sees the way you respond to the difficult problems which they face on a day-to-day basis, and if you can resonate with them and give them solutions, the appreciation builds over time, and it's an infectious journey. It starts with one individual and it carries on. So it's not a easy answer. It's not that 100% of the team is going to be giving you the desired approach which I'm talking about, but if you make a beginning somewhere, I'm sure the ethos will last long enough.
So thank you. You want to add something?
Again, echoing what he already said, depends again on the size of organization. If the size of organization is small, personalization can happen. As you grow in size, standardization has to happen. And how do you keep personalized if you want to keep? It is simple. You give authorities to your frontliners or maybe the grassroots employees, give them deviation matrix where they can take certain decisions. And apart from that, you don't want to go into too much personalization. Because if you are going too much into personalization, then at a big level, what would happen is everybody would have their own problems, their own issues, their own situations. You cannot go on to listen to everybody, all your employees, so you keep standardized formats. Again, scale of organization. And for the AI, which you had asked me, calculators आए थे तो सब लोगों को लगता था नौकरियां जाएंगी. कंप्यूटर्स आए तो वापस सब लोग कहने लग गए नौकरियां जाएंगी. बहुत सारे स्टेट्स ने तो उस समय बैन भी कर दिए थे, कंप्यूटर्स चाहिए ही नहीं हमें स्टेट में. आज की डेट में आई डोंट थिंक एनीबडी इज हियर इन दिस रूम हु हैज नॉट यूज्ड अ कंप्यूटर और इज नॉट यूजिंग इट ऑन अ रेगुलर बेसिस.
Or who doesn't have it in their pocket?
AI, same thing. It is gonna come. It's inevitable. It's evolution. And when it comes, it's not gonna take jobs. It's gonna increase productivity. I am a student of economics. कंटिन्यूस ग्रोथ के लिए ना टेक्नोलॉजिकल एवोल्यूशन इज अ नेसेसिटी. आप सेम काम करते हुए ये नहीं सोच सकते कि मैं हर साल 100 साल तक 5 या 10% से ग्रो करूंगा. हाउ डज दैट हैपन? व्हेन योर टेक्नोलॉजी इज इवॉल्विंग. एआई इज द नेक्स्ट फेज ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी. आने वो वाला है. इफ वी ट्राई टू एम्ब्रेस इट, गुड फॉर अस. नहीं तो इनएविटेबली वी विल हैव टू डू इट. देयर इज नो चॉइस इन द मैटर.
Just to add one point.
It's okay.
Yeah, just to add one point that yes, technology is the one when you have a large organization and you have to respond a large number of customers. So technology certainly can help you in, हो सकता है कि आपके 1000 कस्टमर की प्रॉब्लम एक ही हो. So that will help you to provide the data कि yes, this is the only one problem where you're supposed to give the one solution only.
Right.
So this is the enabler, which
Right.
can help in the providing the solution for the large number of customer base.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. I think we've had thoughtful, layered, and loaded answers, and I think every panelist have brought in a different perspective, which is really great. But now let's remove strategy, language, and just see instincts. So I have created a surprise which none of them know about. Rapid fire round. I always wanted to be Karan Johar, so let me try and be that. Maybe I'll reduce weight like him as well someday. Uh, one line answers, no explanation, no policy statement, no disclaimers. We'll start with Pinak. If you're okay and ready, please, Mike. Yeah.
Yes, please.
So, Pinak, customer first, philosophy or survival strategy?
Philosophy.
Board meetings or customer complaints, more stressful?
Customer complaints.
Faster disbursal or fewer disputes?
Fewer disputes.
Tougher call, reduce targets or reduce bonuses?
Reduce bonuses.
One word your compliance teams use the most?
Survival.
Great, thank you. Anamika, empathy can be trained, yes or no?
Yes.
Target hurts culture, agree or disagree?
Agree.
Complaint is a problem or a gift?
I'm sorry.
Complaint is a problem or a gift?
It's a gift.
KPI you would remove tomorrow?
No.
One frontline behavior that destroys trust? I don't have a buzzer.
No, no. There are actually a couple of them. So I can't just put one.
At least one.
I think mistrust with the customer.
Okay. Rohit, dealer power, strength or risk?
Strength.
Speed or suitability?
Speed.
Ecosystem efficiency or borrower flexibility?
Ecosystem.
Ecosystem efficiency or borrower flexibility?
Flexibility के पहले क्या?
Ecosystem efficiency or borrower flexibility?
Efficiency.
Bundled financing, innovation or overreach?
Bundled financing innovation.
One practice industry should stop immediately.
Trade advances.
I have stopped. You had that complaint. So, okay. Jasoda. CRM, relationship tool or reminder machine?
It's a reminder machine.
AI in credit, genius or overconfident intern?
Sorry, I didn't heard it.
AI in credit, genius or overconfident intern?
Genius.
Dashboard makes management happy, true or false?
Difficult to answer. Sometime, yes.
Okay. More data always helps, yes or dangerous?
Dangerous.
Automation with empathy, realistic or idealistic?
Can you repeat this?
Automation with empathy, realistic or idealistic?
And realistic.
Okay, great. Thank you. Abhijit, incentives drive behavior, always or mostly?
Mostly.
Sales culture, hungry or disciplined?
Hungry.
Customer experience linked bonus, brave or risky?
Brave.
One matrix that create wrong behavior.
One matrix that creates wrong behavior.
I told you guys they didn't know about this.
Okay. o- mm. Only targets.
Okay. Revenue at any cost, outdated or reality?
It is reality, but it's changing.
Okay. Thank you everyone. Thank you for bearing with me. That was sharp, and sometimes these 40 words are way more important and engaging and informative than 40 slides deck. In reflect to today's discussion, one thing stands out: customer first is not being softer; it's about being clearer, clearer in leadership, clearer in incentives, clearer in technology, and clearer in ethical boundaries. And in our industry, clarity builds trust. thank you, all the panelists, and thank you for the audience for being so patient, and especially after the lunch break. Thank you, everyone.
Come. Thank you, everybody. I would now request Mr. Shaili Gupta to present mementos to all our panelists. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Yes. Can we all just give a huge round of applause? Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Now I will request Mr. Atul Pandey to please join on stage. Yes, sir. A big thank you, everybody, for your time.